Counter-Strike 2 is officially released. That's it. Doesn't really feel like anything has changed with the full release of Counter-Strike 2 versus the limited test. It's just everyone can play the limited test now. The game's still kinda under construction. Greetings, hi, TheWarOwl greets you. Allow me to show you what's new. I don't know if it's just placebo, but for me the game feels a lot better than when it was in the limited test, especially in terms of hit reg. The play menu now has the competitive mode where you can choose whichever maps you want to queue, and you'll get a unique rank on each map. This is the Learn a Map mode, where you can expand your own personal map pool before moving on to Premier. It's kind of the legacy competitive mode. I'm a big fan of having unique ranks on each map, but it takes 10 wins to get a rank per map. Well, that's a lot.
That sucks for sure. Then getting 10. That means right now you have 7 main maps, like the competitive map, that's 70 matches that you have to win. That's a lot. That's fucking a lot.
I almost think a better system would be a hybrid where the performance on each map is weighted against the player's overall performance, which would require a lot less games to be played to get a good idea about how good of a player they are. Maybe 10 wins overall and 3 wins on each map. Because all the ranks got reset, solo queuing or going into Premier mode with anything less than a 5 stack is a real pain. I imagine it'll take some time for the ranks to settle, but ideally you'd want 5 stacks to go up against other 5 stacks and good players to play against other good players. When I solo queue, I end up in matches with people who are ranked silver to gold nova, and it's just not fun for anybody. I've also seen reports that there's a lot of cheaters in Premier, but I've yet to come across one myself. Remember that the biggest problems this game needed to solve were cheating and bad matchmaking servers. Those were the things that turned people off of Counter-Strike. They need to get those two right. The other game modes have the map group feature from Global Offensive. I never liked this. They're grouped fairly arbitrarily, which only leads to split queues and longer queue times. The one good aspect of this is the dedicated Dust 2 category, because a lot of people are just going to want to play Deathmatch to warm up on Dust 2, but I think it was fine how it was in the limited test, where every map was in the same pool. In Wingman, you can pick individual maps, but you get one rank for all of them. Kind of confusing to have not only different ranks, but also a different ranking system for each of the 3 ranked modes. We now have a store tab. I'm glad it's in the tab and doesn't just like pop up on the front page. After you play a bunch of Counter-Strike each week, it'll give you a choice of 2 out of 4 items that you'll get as your random drops. This is a clever tactic. It forces you to acknowledge that the microtransaction stuff exists. If you have to click to choose a case, you are now interacting with the case. Makes your brain more likely to open it, or at least the question floats by your mind. We have the demo system from Global Offensive, where you can save demos from your matches and watch them with a much improved demo viewer, as well as sending a share code, so maybe we'll bring Matchmaking Academy back. For those of you who want to use it, here's a pro tip. SV spec speed no longer changes the free roam speed. It's SV no clip speed now. This feature was disabled temporarily as Valve is struggling to keep up with the server demand. A lot of people are trying to play Counter-Strike 2 right now, and they're just not able to keep up with it, so there's going to be a lot of performance issues, I think, as they figure this out. As someone who spends a lot of time in the demo viewer, I'm incredibly happy that they gave this some attention. The main thing is that you can go back in time without it taking 2 to 3 minutes to load everything
Oh, that
again.
is
As
that
per
is a
usual
beautiful
with Valve stuff, the tech
thought. Simple. Yeah, I actually like it. I remember the one from CSGO. I think it was a little bit more confusing. This one is cool.
technology of how the demos work is really impressive, but that's not something you can really see unless you have an understanding of how the technology works. Unreal's demo viewer, which you can see in Fortnite, is absolutely outstanding in the tools that it provides video makers, even though Fortnite creators just lazily post their raw gameplay. It's like giving an iPhone to a koala bear. The demo viewer is still lacking in features, even simple stuff like showing when important events happened on the timeline, round starts, player kills, objective kills, and the ability to jump in between each point. Even a simple save and reload of a certain tick would be helpful. You get a coin if you played Global Offensive, there's new main menu music, as well as a legacy Global Offensive music kit, and I guess that's it with Counter-Strike 2. I was expecting something new, something exciting. I think what's going on here is that the developers are focusing on the core gameplay first before they add any bells and whistles. And
Yeah, that makes sense, because now with the game available for everyone, they can fix everything faster. Now that everyone has access, cheaters, everything, anti-cheat, everything, they can do it easier now because they have more data. The more players, the more data they have. So I think that is actually smart. It's pretty good in my opinion. A lot of people don't like it. The 60-40 grade or sub-tick feels odd, but it's okay. I mean, it's just the game is been out for less than 2 weeks. I'm pretty sure it's fine.
New
They'll fix it in the future.
features and returning features will be coming sometime in the future. The most important thing is the gameplay, so I'm glad that's the focus. But the community is split on this one. Obviously, the game is going to have some differences from Global Offensive, and there's going to be stuff we have to learn and get used to, but there's also some stuff that just feels bad. For me, the main problem right now is the visuals, particularly the tracers, and there's no way to remove them client-side. They've locked the tracers behind SV cheats. I think the tracers are just wrong. They don't show you what is actually happening, and it can throw off your recoil control. Let me explain. In Counter-Strike, your shots don't come from your weapon. They come from your face. Also, because it's hit scan, shots are processed almost instantaneously. There's no bullet travel, so why are we showing the bullet travel if it doesn't exist? I always thought the best way to show impacts was to show where the shot hit as they hit. Some kind of effect on the wall and a decal left behind. That way you can see where the recoil is going and adjust your spray depending upon what you see. I think there's too many particle effects when shooting the wall.
I had no idea about that, but yeah, the spray feels odd, feels weird. The bullets coming out feel weird.
Which makes it tough
It's definitely confusing. I agree with that.
to see where your shot actually went. If I could make one suggestion, it would be to tone down the particle effects. It's especially bad when you're close to a wall. All of a sudden, your entire vision is obstructed. I know it's probably the time we should be hyping up the game and creating excitement and all of this, and I think Counter-Strike 2 is a lot better than many in the community are giving it credit for, and I think CS2 has a bright future. I really want this game to be the best it could possibly be, so I'm going to give feedback. If something seems wrong and I have an idea of how it could be improved, I'm gonna voice it. I think the biggest shock of the CS2 release is that Global Offensive is just gone. People have been playing that game for 10 years. Entire communities, game modes, things that people would do every day of their lives, it just got Thanos snapped out of existence overnight. You can still access Global Offensive, right-click CS2, properties, betas, and click on CSGO Demo Viewer. People have been using this to play on community servers. I'm going to use it to look at demos because I want to show you guys my final game of Counter-Strike Global Offensive. I'm editing that video right now. It would make more sense if Global Offensive could still exist on Steam, just without Valve servers and support, kind of like 1.6 Condition Zero and Source still exist and people still play them. But I think the reason why they deleted it is very obvious and simple. It's not because they think people are going to play it instead of CS2. It's the skins. It's all
Oh, okay, that makes sense. I was gonna say because they want people to play the new game, but yeah, sure, skins.
always the skins with this game. It's how the game makes money, so it makes sense that that is the priority. If Valve made CS2 a blank slate new game and left all the skins back in Global Offensive, that would all collapse, so they had to port it over. But instead of having to support skins on the old game and continue to make updates to CSGO, which they really don't want to do, but they would have to do to keep the skins consistent, which how the heck is that going to work, especially when we might get new weapons? Their solution was to replace Global Offensive with CS2. Also consider people with weak PCs. Some have trouble running CS2, but not Global Offensive. Their favorite game is just gone. There's also some features which I assume are going to be added later, like left-handed view models. A lot of people are asking for this. It really should have been there on release. I'm wondering if what they're doing is coming up with some technology so that the skins aren't simply mirrored, but left-handed skins, it actually makes sense. Like maybe they can make it so that if there's text on the skin, it portrays the right way on left-handed. There's a way to do that, and maybe that's what they're working on. I think that would be a really nice feature to kind of make left-handed viewer models an official thing that makes sense. The core gameplay is coming along. I've been playing a bunch of games. I have been enjoying myself in the games that I've played. But on the surface, it just looks like Counter-Strike with less features. Counter-Strike 2 is an impressive game technically, and it has a lot of potential. If they can get the core gameplay down, then they have a framework upon which to build everything else. I think you're going to be surprised by how fast they're going to be able to develop for Counter-Strike 2. My only concern is that this was an...
I mean, I expect that they are gonna do a lot of stuff, add a lot of tech into CS2 for everything, the players, maybe the workshop, all of that, but I don't know. I mean, like again, the game is been out for less than 2 weeks. We have to wait and see what they do. They didn't update CS:GO for like 3 years, I'm pretty sure, or more. So they could literally keep the game like this for 2, 3 years again. I hope they're not gonna do that. I hope they're actually gonna release updates every week, every month, something like that, like a decent update, not just a bug fix. But again, we'll have to wait.
Opportunity to get a lot of new people into the game, and people usually stick to their first impressions of things. They don't like to be wrong, especially with something frivolous like what video game should I play. I think they should have
Mostly now that's true because they also have Valorant, right? If they come and play CS2, their PC is lagging, they find cheaters, all of that type of stuff. They're gonna say this game is dog shit. What the fuck? Why are people playing this? And they will go back or just play Valorant or another game like Rainbow Six, another tactical shooter like that. That's actually true.
have done something. We know that there's all these new features and ideas and stuff floating around that they've been working on. There was nothing here. Even just releasing Cobblestone would have generated some interest. This was just the game. This was just
I agree.
Counter-Strike, which, you know, I'm okay with because I like Counter-Strike, but I feel like it's a missed opportunity. I've been playing Counter-Strike on and off for like 24 years now. It's one of those games where you can get mad at it and uninstall it and not play it for like 2 years. But you always come back to it. You get this itch to play the game again. The strength of Counter-Strike is in the core mechanics of the game, the pacing of the game loop, the slow buildup of tension over the round. It's a game where your character doesn't get better, you get better. Where no matter the scoreline, no matter the situation, with the correct application of skill, you can win. The perfect balance of mechanical skill, game sense, and teamwork, so simple that your mother could watch a match and understand what is
That
going
is
on.
true. That is true. That is probably one. That is one of the reasons why competitive is actually that popular because it's easy to understand. If you watch Overwatch, Valorant, or any of these other games, even League of Legends is okay. You can still. It's confusing. It's a little bit confusing, but not as much as Valorant and Overwatch. Those games is actually weird. Not weird, complicated to understand what is happening with the ultimates, the abilities, all of that. Having two Vipers or Harpers in the same map, in the same bomb, something like that, ulting at the same time, yeah, it's overwhelming for sure. CS2 or CSGO is simple. The utility 5v5, one upper, each team attack defense is way more simple than the other games for sure.
Or the one guy's got to shoot the other guy before the other guy shoots the. But it takes a lifetime to master the depth of the game. A game that is fair, but also doesn't hold your hand. So you gotta look up some goofy guy on the internet to learn how to play. Counter-Strike is the chess of video games. It was there in the beginning, it'll probably be there 20 years from now. There may be imitators, but there's no game like it. Thank you both very much for watching. I'm TheWarOwl, and I still have no closer.
That was a good video. I like that. I enjoyed this video. Yeah, nice.